played MMOs my whole life. It started when I was 8 with World of Warcraft, and I've played a couple of other ones since, but the only ones that have ever really stuck with me at all are World of Warcraft, Destiny 1, and Final Fantasy XIV. Now, when people who play these games think about the other game, they usually look down on it, kind of like a circle of hatred. Like the World of Warcraft players say that the Final Fantasy XIV players are a bunch of weeaboos and furries, and the Final Fantasy XIV players say that the Destiny players' game came broken, buggy, unfinished, and cut apart by Activision. And then the Destiny players look at World of Warcraft and they say that, oh, it's been built upon a rocky foundation and stacked way higher than it ever needs to be. And none of these, are wrong. They're all just kind of heinous hate speech, though, trying to get under the members of the other games community's skin. But I just want to push all that aside and talk about one thing we can all agree on: music, and how it affects the game you're playing and the tone that you're feeling. So I'm going to start with Destiny, and I'm going to tell y'all about its music and then move on to the other two games. But I'm not just talking specifically about its music, because I could go on and on about, all the music in these games for years. I'm specifically talking about raid encounters and how they all handle it differently, and how I think MMOs should handle raid music in general. But if you were to ask me, okay, you play World of Warcraft basically your entire life, that means it's your favorite MMO, right? I'd say no. My favorite MMO ever was Destiny 1. And I'm not going to get into the logistics of Destiny 1's cursed development or its DLC practice. Bruh. I'm here to talk about its music, and 3 tracks from that game, to be more specific. The first track I'm going to talk to you about is the title music that plays the second you turn on the game. This is because I want to reinforce something that I've noticed in Destiny's music. So if you don't know, every single song in Destiny is done by a live orchestra. Right? It's orchestrated and it's done in real life, it's recorded, and then it's put into the game. It's beautiful music, every one of their songs sounds great, and basically all of the critics who said they hated Destiny 1 and Destiny 1 had no story when it came out, basically all of them said the gameplay's fun, the music's great, and that's it.
And the music in Destiny is incredible. I want the soundtrack now. 6 out of 10. It would be a 4 out of 10.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but everybody else agrees with me that the music is great. But even though it's live orchestrated, there's definitely a theme that's very, very noticeable going on in every song. And that is the presence of the brass instruments. So I've theorized that all of the songs kind of tell a little miniature story, right? They kind of invoke the feeling that you would have in the specific missions that they are played in. And I feel like the brass instruments, in particular, represent the light inside of the Guardian, which is the main character of Destiny. It's something I've theorized for years now. I've always thought this, and I just thought it made sense. I'm sure other Destiny players have picked up on this too. It's not some kind of theory or secret or anything like that. It's just kind of something that I've noticed. In the title screen, the very beginning, it swishes in with sounds of tambourines, xylophones, all kinds of pretty high-pitched instruments that give you the feeling of adventure, invoking, space. It just gets the whole feeling of Destiny laid onto you right flat. And then the music quiets down, and then bam, there comes the brass. One lonely brass instrument, usually a trumpet or a trombone, playing a solo piece for a couple of measures before the rest of the orchestra picks back in. This is a very, 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 very reoccurring theme throughout all the Destiny songs in basically both of the games, really. It's more so present in Destiny 1, however, because in Destiny 1, you really are a single light in the darkness more often than not than in endgame Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. So, the first opening theme song clearly sets the stage for this, but some people might be doubtful. They might say, well, this game has a live orchestra, so of course there's going to be a lot of trumpet, you fucking loser. And to that I say, okay, well then listen to this song. This song is called The Last Array. It plays on the last story mission of Earth, which is the first planet that you go to in Destiny. So it's basically the last step in the trial, if you will. All right, like I'm about to leave Earth, I'm about to go off into space, and this is the final mission. The lore for The Last Array itself is pretty big, but people have kind of complained that all Destiny 1 missions were kind of samey. But let me tell you what it was anyways. So when you stumble across this ancient abandoned mainframe at the peak of the Cosmodrome, which is the area you explore on Earth, you find the controls for the Last Array. Shocking, right? But what the Last Array is a satellite that communicates with the last known Warmind, Rasputin. And what a Warmind is in Destiny lore is kind of a super duper mega AI that controls all the nukes and shit for their respective part of the solar system. Alright? Rasputin was apparently the strongest Warmind, and it's what kept the Traveler from leaving the solar system when the darkness showed up, so that it stayed and protected us and gave its life for us. So Rasputin in lore is a pretty big fucking deal. And the Guardian finding the Last Array, showing, hey, he's right here and you better go find him, is a mega important part of the story. So you go to the Last Array, you find it, you're like, oh shit, I can get the Warmind, this is great. So you activate the Last Array and a gigantic, humongous satellite dish starts coming out of the ground. Since it's so big and loud and annoying as fuck, it alerts the Hive, who show up and start attacking you. So you thinking, okay, well, I could probably just die against this gigantic wave of the Hive, resurrect, get away, and live to see another day. That's all well and good, that's fine, but the thing is, if I do that, then we won't actually have the location of the Warmind. If they destroy the Last Array, we're fucked. You know, we might not be in a worse place than we are now. We're not going anywhere. Things won't get better for us. I have to stay here now, and I have to stand against this storm that's coming. And the song that plays during the Last Array music perfectly mirrors this. What it is every 4 or 5 measures or so, the song repeats. The beat of the song repeats. But every time, it layers more and more musical instruments of the orchestra on top of it. It gets more complex, it gets louder, it's layered over and over again, and right as it's getting to its peak, right where it's building up, right before the climax, right before the crescendo of the piece, you hear an explosion of brass instruments, right? You hear the trumpet, which has been silent the entire song, and you hear the trombone blaring in force, and all the other instruments are silent, right? All the other instruments were so chaotic, they were so loud, they sounded like so much together, but standing atop the mountain, above everything else, is the brass. Just like how the Guardian, and the light inside of them, stands before everything else and rises to the top. While you were busy farming public events to have enough strange coins to perhaps purchase your first exotic weapon from Xur, I was here, studying the blade. While you were off, cheesing the Templar from that one special spot, I was here, studying the blade. While you were off, watching Angry Joe complain about the video game, I was here, studying the blade. And now, it is my time. So what about Destiny's raids, though? Well, the first raid, Vault of Glass, you know, it didn't have any unique music. I'm guessing because it was kind of hastily put together, like most things in Destiny. Okay, well, what about the next raid? Alright, Crota'send had one unique track, and it plays during the last boss. Perfect, let's talk about that. Alright, so what does it sound like? Right. You probably can't hear it over all those gamer noises. Here, let me turn those down. So your first thought might be like, hang on a second, this is the music that plays during the Crota boss fight? And to that I say, yeah, it is. But this music sounds literally nothing like any of the songs you just played for me. Well, that's because it's not supposed to be. All the other songs are live orchestrated, beautiful pieces, and this sounds kind of like a techno-y, boppy, video gamey song, you know? It's weird, it's completely different, but it's fitting, especially if you know the lore. Alright everybody, get ready for a quick little lore lesson. So in this raid, Crota'send, you're in Crota's throne world. And what a throne world is it's a pocket universe that a hive is able to make once it's killed enough dudes. And then they can go inside of their pocket universe, and then it's kind of like a chill place to hang out. And if they die in the real world, their soul goes into there to recover. So they never actually die until they get killed in their throne world. And every time they kill something, it gets bigger and stronger, and by extension, they get bigger and stronger. So you're in Crota's house, right? It's Crota in the house playing Crota's mixtape with Crota's boys hanging out. So it kind of makes sense that the music's completely alien and different. You're in somebody else's house. We don't get your orchestrated shit. We get Crota's song. Listen to his mixtape. All right, well, let's fix that. So how does Crota's fight work? Well, you know, he sends dudes at you in the beginning, blah, 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 Destiny boss fight. What about after that? Alright, well, this is one of the earlier boss fights, so it's kind of simple. Here's how it works. Crota has a gigantic shield that covers his health bar, and if you shoot him enough to drain his shield to 0, you still can't damage him, but he kind of like staggers and like falls to his knees. Except Crota really likes swords, like a lot. Like, he's a sword addict. I'm not really sure why. They even make fun of it in Destiny 2. Like, Crota just really likes swords. So if you kill one of his sword bearers and pick up his sword, and then your boys shoot Crota enough to make him kneel over, you can actually damage him with his own shit. And it's not a big frame, you know, the sword doesn't last forever. It eventually fades away from your hands because you're not supposed to have it. You know, Crota eventually stands back up. So just for about like 7 seconds or so, you're able to damage him. I mean, it's enough time, right? Because you're a badass and it'll do like a third or to a quarter of his health bar. But, you know, just for a second, you're able to damage him. And when you do, wouldn't you be damned if the lonely brass instruments come back in play? That's right, they come back. You hear the Guardian music whenever you attack Crota. It's incredible. It's amazing, you know? It's like, alright, yeah, I get you, Crota. You have your boppin' video game music, but whatever. But listen to this shit, bro. Crota gets back up, he summons his Oversoul, which is a giant exploding circle. You know, he summons more dudes, you kill the dudes, you find another sword boy, you kill him, you take his sword, and then you walk up to Crota and say, "What's up, bitch?" You knock him over, and then you beat his ass up again. He stands back up, you do it all again, and then guess what? You kill him with his own sword. So guess what? You kill him with his own sword. And the last thing you hear isn't Crota's boppy techno video game music. It's your music. It's the last thing that plays before it cuts to silence and you stand there in Crota's now empty throne world. Thanks for watching my video. It's a real big deal to me. Especially since I just got finished editing it. It took exactly 7 hours and 50 minutes, so it was a lot of hard work. Please share it around, like it, subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna make another 2 parts to this video, one for Final Fantasy XIV and one for World of Warcraft, and I'm sure both of them are going to be hard as hell to make as well. Please follow me on Twitch. The videos are fun to make and all, but really, I care about Twitch a lot. Watch me stream there. I like interacting with chat. It's my favorite part of stream, and I need more chat members. Please follow my Twitch. Thanks so much for watching the video again. It's a really big deal. Until next time.